Grasshopper here, and welcome to Axe & Allies Gaming Academy. Today we're doing an unboxing video and we're calling this Advanced Training. Advanced Training because we're looking at Axe & Allies 1940 Global. Now what I have here right in front of me is a new box, Pacific 1940 2nd Edition. And we're going to open up both of them, both games needed for Global. We have Pacific and I'll show you Europe as well. So we're going to open these up. I don't have the plastic on these. It's not a traditional unboxing, but definitely these are new. This is what you're going to need for playing Axe & Allies 1940 Global 2nd Edition, and we're just going to pop this off and take a look. Now, there's not a whole lot to this. It's got everything you need, but you're going to see that it's not as nice as the components that come in Anniversary Edition. We have our battle board, much smaller than the Anniversary Edition. We have air bases and naval bases, which is a new concept in this game. And we also have two types of factories, minor and major. We're going to get into all that. But here's our punch-out tokens for everything we're going to need. We also have some Roundels. Now remember, this is Pacific side, so we're not going to see Germany on this. This is a theater game if you're interested in only playing a smaller half downscale watered down version of Axe & Allies using just half the global experience. So you can actually play this by itself, and we have only the tools and roundels and materials and components needed in this box to play half the global experience. Now if you take a look here, we've got all of our tokens needed. Now, it is disappointing that a lot of these control markers are not printed centered. They're not centered. I'll give you one example, and we'll take a look at Anzac, which in this game is Australia. And if you can see that, I don't know if you can or not, but they're not printed immediately on or properly on the tokens. It is uncentered. Now, it wouldn't be a big deal if that was the only tokens that were uncentered, but you're going to see that almost everything is offset on these control markers. So really emphasizes maybe the importance now of historical board gaming custom roundels or control markers if this kind of stuff is going to bother you. So we will look at the map in a minute. We've got our rule book. Now each comes with a rule book, of course. Excuse me. This here has the Pacific side, everything you need to know about playing the Pacific, with Pacific demonstrations and examples and situations to help you along in the rules. And also in the back we've got global rules. Alright, so that's going to be important to know. Here's another piece of the board we'll look at in a second. All that's left now is the trays that come with the game, the piece trays. And I'll just show you that unlike Anniversary Edition, we got our plastic pieces here. The infantry are separated, but everything else, fighters. Now there's new units in this game, tactical bombers, mechanized infantry and things. But if you take a notice, there's no compartments in these trays, so they will expect you to just pop them and put them all in that tray, all mixed together, which is problematic, but we'll talk more about that later. Same thing, this is the Americans. You know, we got the infantry in one bag and everything else in another plastic bag, no compartments. And that will be the same with everything here. Here we have China, which has its own box, but because the Chinese units are so little, we got our dice and our chips in here as well. And finally, Anzac with the components bagged in their little tray. Now, we don't have Germany here, and we don't have Italy. This is the Pacific board, remember? So let's just take a quick glance at these boards. There's two of them. I'm not sure if it fits in the screen or not. They're quite large. Now with second edition, we're going to see an income tracker along the top of the board. That's why we don't see one as part of our game aids. And the second part of the Pacific board, really nice boards, gorgeous artwork on these boards, very happy with them. There's going to be so much that we're going to talk about when it comes to this game, and especially this map. So that is Pacific. There's not much to it. The components may seem light in comparison to the Anniversary Edition game, but by far it is an extremely sophisticated game, definitely with more complexity, if that's even a word. Definitely more complex. Now here we have the Europe side. Now remember what I was talking about in the last episode of this advanced training. The first episode, I was talking about big games like Twilight Imperium and whatnot having many components and being very heavy. I mean, here we have a heavy game, but not the same size as the box. But if you put them both together, it would be a massive, very large game with all the maps and all the pieces and everything to go over. And we're not going to downplay the emphasis or de-emphasize the fact that we're going to have tons of customizations for this. Therefore, we're going to need even more space. So here we have the Europe side. And what we're going to do with these, and what I've always done with these, this is not my first purchased game of Axonales. What we're going to do is we're going to bring everything together into one box. All the components, everything into one box. I'm not going to keep them separate into Pacific. I'm not going to keep my Europe separate because I've never played them individually. I've never played just a theater game or half a 1940 game. I've always brought it together to play the global experience. So I'm going to put everything together in one box, one tray, one kit, whatever, to make sure I have everything I need to play global. Now the Roundels, again, some are offset. The Germans here I see are really nicely centered, although we get into the UK Roundels and it's more the same thing from the other. We're also going to need our air bases and naval bases. Remember, new unit in this game with some factories. Now we have some tabs, counters. We're going to talk more about these counters. I mean, the Roundels itself, we talked a little bit in engineer training, the Roundels themselves. But these here are extremely difficult to pick up, and we're going to go over that in future. But right now, we're just looking at what comes with these games. You know, another very small battle board. I remember first edition. Remember, this is second edition. First edition came out in 2010. I remember the Europe having a much bigger battle board, but it looks like run after publication, they seem to have adopted the Pacific battle board, which is small, and that's a shame. Also too, it come with an income tracker, and the income tracker for the Pacific was small. The income tracker for Europe was bigger or larger, not sure why. But a whole game aid dedicated to the research and development, which is broken and hardly gets used, and we'll talk about that as well. The boards we'll look at in a second. Another rule book. Okay, so this is the Europe rulebook. Now something you need to know about these is the rules are basically the same. You can learn how to play global with any one rulebook. If you lose a rulebook, you can still learn to play global. There's a few things in the Pacific that might trip you up. China rules, kamikaze rules, that stuff you're going to find in the Pacific. But if you've got one, you'll be fine. Now, in the back of each of these books, we'll have the global rules, and that's what we're interested in, and that's definitely what I'm interested in teaching you guys. So even though you're going to need a lot of the information in the rule book, there's some information that is only set for the half games. You'll have to replace some of the rules, for example, national objectives, with the global rules. Now, this two rule book system is incredibly confusing to a lot of beginners, and I'm going to do my best to help you through it. Ideally, what I would have liked them to do is go ahead and have the books for each game, but at least allow us the option of buying an individual hardcover book for global that shows us examples from Europe board and Pacific board, includes everything together in one with a good table of contents, which these do not have, and just an overall gaming handbook, a player's handbook. Hardcover would have been nice. I know Wizards of the Coast has the ability to do something like that. That's what I had wished for the game that I love, but we will have to dissect these rule books and make it as simple as possible. So going back into our boxes again, same. Italy's very minor power, so we've got our dice and chips in the Italy tray, and the United States here. Okay, we got actually a lot going on here. We've got the French in the United States, because the French and US tray is shared here. Now, one thing you need to understand, unlike Anniversary Edition where we've got cards for our setup, these box trays have the setup. Now, this is going to be problematic when we start engineering our gaming experience and get rid of these trays, simply because they're not compartmentalized. Unless you do something to make them compartmentalized, it's going to be problematic. You're not going to want them. You're going to want to use something else for a piece tray. However, this is the only place you'll find setups. You won't find them in the rule books, and you'll find them online. We'll help you with that for sure. But many times people get rid of these boxes because they're not useful in a game like this, and they ended up going to a game without the setup charts. And finally, Germany with that same black background with black pieces. So that's our empty box there. Let's take a look now at the Europe boards. So again, really, really nice. Love the artwork. Can't complain. Wizards of the Coast art department is fantastic. They did an excellent job when they took over making maps. I remember the revised edition map, which was just awful. And thank goodness they did a good job on these maps here. And we've got these boards. So we've got the double seam in the and its section. So it's one piece that you have to slide together, bring together, not the whole map all in one that you fold, but you do have to fold these pieces, unlike Anniversary Edition. Now, in my history with these boards, they're not going to bend the way that the latest Anniversary Edition is doing, in my experience right now. This is my third set that I've purchased. I want to say thanks a lot to my bunker crew for helping me with that. And specifically War Torn. Thanks, buddy. So we have lots of additions here at the Cliffside Bunker. This is our third, and we have gourds and gourds of pieces. We're going to show you just with this what we have, what kind of experience that you can build, because we understand that these games are expensive. You're looking at about 90 now, at least Canadian, 90 to 95 for each of them. So that's quite a bit of money. And what we're going to do is we are going to put all four boards together, because we are interested in the global experience. So now all the boards go into one. You can put the game aids together. We're going to punch these out later. You can put the rule books together just like that, and that's one box. Remember, we're building a global experience here. We don't care about playing just with one half, so it's okay to bring them all together. Now I'm going to show you in the next video how we're going to actually bring together everything. But if you take a look here, one level, two level, all of them fit. And then of course later we're going to pop open the bags. We're going to fill our trays. And before we even set up, we're going to show you some essential customizations, because this game is screaming to be modified, screaming to be engineered, and we have a lot of experience with that, and we're going to show you some essential things that you need, some things that you might not need but you might want, we play this experience with just this and just this that come with the game, with the minimal chips and the trays that you have to sift through all your pieces in one little box. We call that slumming it. My members and I, when we go to a table at a library or something, and we're behind with a venue that we need, and we take only what we have here that we purchased. We call it slumming it at conventions or game shops. But when we're here at the bunker and we have all of our customizations, the game comes alive, and we're going to show you that in more engineer training videos. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of exciting looking stuff in these boxes. Don't judge a book by a cover, because this is one of the best board games, definitely one of the best World War II strategy board games on the market today. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking my videos. Really appreciate the support. And may all your rules be ones. Cheers.